I'm sure everybody listening to the podcast was well aware because they have a Twitter account. All the drama that was going down. Who started it? It was one of the media members, and he went at Barstool. What was his name?
Jim Utter.
Jim Utter. I've seen him around on Twitter and stuff. He just tweets like updates from races.
He basically just watches. He's got a subscription to Bob Proctor's Twitter, and then just says whatever he says.
Yeah. And I love Bob. I've had him on the show as well.
Bob's the man.
So I've seen Utter, around, and I saw his comment when he first did it because somebody in the media center asked a really weird fucking question. I don't know if you got to listen to it. They released the video.
Mark Anthony DeBello Production Company. Joey, congratulations. Long-term question. There's talk out there about a 10-year plan NASCAR November. Charlotte for the Hall of Fame, here because it's obviously the gambling capital, and congratulations, you were 5-1 to win this race. Okay. And the final race, a week championship series in Daytona, with the cool part being that the championship, the cup winner, gets to be the pole sitter for the race in February, Daytona 500. Your thoughts about that in the long term?
That's all news to me. Whoa. Has anyone else heard this rumor before? Is that news to everybody? Whoa, I believe some of that might be a conspiracy theory. I'm not buying all that. There's some of that I don't know if I would be.
Yeah, it was with Joey Logano.
Yeah.
And they actually, I read a tweet earlier that somebody came out and said who that was. And now I have no idea what their name was. But it's just like doing like goofy shit. Like whenever you see like the guy that interviews LeBron and talks like he's from like the 30s. You know what I mean? Like there's I don't know if you've ever seen that. If you haven't, you need to go look that up. But, it's real shit. Like, I've literally myself thought about doing shit like that in the media room. But, like, I feel like I'd have to be deep undercover. Like, I would literally have to have, like, glasses and khakis and a polo.
It's NASCAR, dude. They'll crucify you. And not even the sport of NASCAR. All the other journalists.
Right.
Just gang up on you and start crucifying you for whatever reason. But, okay, yeah, so he asked a dumb question. I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but people went off. They thought it was the worst thing ever. Like, it's the biggest travesty since the Civil War. This other guy said it was probably somebody from Barstool, completely unprovoked. He just clearly doesn't like Barstool or the audience of Barstool, which is fine. But it was definitely a shot at Barstool being around in NASCAR. And so, of course, Dave Portnoy went at him.
Yeah.
Called him out and said, everybody go at this guy. He wants to call us out.
He said he was going to emasculate him so you can beg for forgiveness.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, that's Dave, though, bro. Like, that's a guy that does not give a fuck. Like, he literally just, like, got a deal with Penn Gaming, and he's worth over $400 million now. And even though NASCAR has given him money to just throw their logo around on Barstool stuff, he's just still going to be Dave. He don't give a shit.
Well, and that's the thing. Utter's there because that's his job. He's getting paid to try to cover NASCAR. Dave's there because NASCAR's paying him to be there.
Yeah, that's a whole different level of just kinda, upper echelon shit.
He can kind of do what he wants. I mean, he didn't respond to anything, but all the other journalists came out of the woodwork to defend him because you know how journalists are.
I think there was only one or two, but Matt Weaver was the one that got the most just hardcore bashing from Dave. Dave called him a no-name loser who seems to be universally hated by 99% of NASCAR fans.
Right, because I saw some people say notice how nobody else is no drivers or anybody's come out to defend him, which is pretty telling, yeah. But it's just dumb. Don't get involved if it's not your battle. He should have never called out Barstool unnecessarily like that. I get that you don't like them because you're a professional, quote unquote, but I mean that's what they do as a profession. But that's their style, so.
Right, go write about Formula One. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're right about Indy cars. This is NASCAR. This literally was started off of dudes that were running from the cops with moonshine in their cars. That's what this sport was started. And I think that somewhere along the line, some drivers are guilty of it, some team owners, whatever, and especially media members. You forget that that's the literally the origin of your sport. And you got to pay some homage to that at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think the Frains family is extremely guilty of this as well, forgetting who their audience is. And they've done it so poorly, and that's why NASCAR suffered so much. And the journalists fit into that they just don't understand the NASCAR audience. They think they're speaking more to like the coastal elites, where like the only coast you're speaking to is Florida and South Carolina.
Yeah, this is the panhandle, bro.
Right. You're not. Yeah, exactly. The Florida panhandle, in fact, lower Alabama. So I think that's been an issue with NASCAR forever. I think Barstool, Dave, obviously a really smart businessman, is able to look at it and be like, no, clearly this is the audience for NASCAR. We can talk to this fan base. But I think that's good because that's kind of it seems like what our podcast try to go after.
Right, exactly. And I mean, at the end of the day, like, that's what I know I embrace the most about it. Like, I mean, it doesn't mean that you have to be that 24/7, but like dude, if you go to Talladega, like you better have a pair of jorts packed and you better be ready to get rowdy. Like, that's just how it goes. You know what I mean? And so like when you can appeal to that, you can appeal to Southerners and people that like to get rowdy and have a good time. You're going to have a sustainable market long term. And like you said, like Dave is smart enough to see that. And I hate that, that they've been trying, I feel like they've been trying to move away from that crowd, but it's like, why are you running from something that literally like loves the shit out of you, And
like, which, by the way, a majority of Americans are. People forget that. A vast majority of Americans, live in middle America. They're middle to lower class, maybe a college degree, and they just work 9 to 5s. It's so weird because NASCAR, in my opinion, really, and it's the same thing with the NFL crowd, but they have the biggest target audience to hit, and they just don't want to touch them for whatever reason.
Hello, come right in.